Hello and welcome back in math. Today, those are supposed to be D's. We're going to talk about additive and multiplicative relationships. But now, on the first part, we're just going to be reviewing. The second part of these notes is going over taking the word problems, turning them into tables, equations, and graphs. So, quick review. Remember an additive relationship? It's going to be y equals, let's use a fun color, x plus some number. X plus some number. Sometimes you could see that plus is a minus. Sometimes that plus is going to be a minus like we saw in our last set of notes. We had x minus to get our y, but typically it's going to be adding. If it's x plus a number, that means it's an additive relationship like we said. That means that it is not going to go through the origin. That number, that's our b. That number that we're adding, that's our b. That makes it go above or below the origin. So that means this is a non-proportional relationship. So if you see an additive relationship, think non-proportional. You'll see both of them used. Additive is more common right now in 7th grade, but when you get into upper levels of math, you'll see this non-proportional. So know that additive and non-proportional, they're the same thing because we're adding a b, we're adding a number to make this number go above the origin. Like I said, we can do it by adding or subtracting, but the biggest thing is on a graph, it will not be on the origin. It'll be above it, it'll be below it. So go ahead and just draw an example of what that would look like. This is my y, this is my x. Typically, we would also number this. So I'm going to number this by 2s. So 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm going to do the same on the side. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to do that. Otherwise, go ahead and slide over to the multiplicative relationship. That's when we're going to have some number times x. Remember, we're writing them side by side. We're writing these rules, this equation side by side. And a multiplicative relationship, that's what you'll typically call it in 6th grade, 7th grade, I mean. But when you go into upper levels of math, you'll hear that called proportional. Remember, proportional relationships do go through the origin. And the values are found by multiplying or dividing. We've only seen multiplying so far. You'll see dividing when you get into upper levels of math. So again, like we said, this is going to go through the origin. I'm going to go by 2s again. This is my y, that's my x. Like we said, here we had a b. That makes my graph go up or down. The b makes my graph go up or down. Here, my m, my number, my slope that's with the x. The bigger the number, the steeper the line. The bigger the number, the steeper the line. Let's write those two things down. Bigger number, steeper line. The bigger the number, that's a comma, the steeper the line. So for example, I'm going to show you with my mechanical pencil lead. Here, if we look at our slope, rise over run, we see our slope is 2. That's kind of a steep line. If I were to raise my slope to 3, it gets a little bit steeper. If I raise it to 4, it gets steeper. 5, 6, 7, 8. The bigger the number, the steeper the line. Here, if I go straight through the origin, through all these points, There we go. That would be a slope of 1, but I can lower it. I can make it 1/2. I can lower it. I can make it 1/3. I can lower it, make it 1/4, 1/5, 1/6, 1/7, 1/8. I can just keep lowering it. So the bigger the number, the steeper the line. Over here on the non-proportional, the additive relationship, the b, or the number that we add, makes the line go up or down. The number that we add makes our line go up or down. So here our b is 3. So that means we went up 3 to make our line. If we added 2, our line would be lower. If we added 1, our line would be lower. If we added 0, that's proportional. And then if we subtracted, we would go down here, and our line would just keep getting lower, 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 lower. So the b, the number that we're adding or subtracting, makes our line go up or down. Here, the number that we multiply makes our line more steep, or less steep. All right, moving down to the next section, 2 variable relationships. We've talked about this a little bit. You've talked about it in science class. Just something that we just need to make sure we're hearing. So in 2 variable relationships, there's the independent variable. The independent variable determines the value of a dependent variable. Determines the value of a dependent variable, or it changes. It changes the value of the dependent variable. And it's represented on which axis? The x-axis, the horizontal one. X-axis is side to side. The dependent variable changes in response to the independent variable. There was a song when I was in middle school called Independent, and it went INDEPENDENT. Do you know what that means? And that's how I remember how to spell independent. I sing that song in my head. But that dependent variable is on which axis? The y-axis. Remember, the y goes up and down. Which variable is changed by the other one? Which variable is changed by the other one? The dependent variable. My y is changed by the independent. DEPENDENT. Do you know what that means? So the dependent variable is changed by the independent variable. Again, we just got to keep remembering that, keep hearing it, keep playing it over and over in your head. If you're good there, go ahead and flip to the inside so we can get some practice done. It's going to be on the next video, spoiler alert.